Welcome back everyone to theCUBE's live coverage here all day in San Francisco for Databricks' Data plus AI Summit. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE. Great lineup, we have the co-founder, top engineers, breaking down the future of the data intelligence platform. Now we're going to talk about the Databricks partner ecosystem. Stephen Orban making his inaugural appearance here at Databricks, formerly Google Marketplace, previously at AWS, heading up the ecosystem and partnerships with Databricks. And George Fraser, CEO of Fivetran, CUBE alumni. Last year was on theCUBE here. We're going to revisit that as well, talk about the dynamics in this ecosystem as agentic and data comes in, feeds the AI agents, the agent brick, apps are being built. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on. Good to see you again. Great to see you in the Databricks jersey. Good.
John,
welcome aboard.
John, always a pleasure. Thanks for having us. George, thanks for doing this with us. Really appreciate it.
Nice to be back.
So Stephen, thanks for coming on. Again, we've been following your career on theCUBE, AWS Marketplace, Google Marketplace, building those into billions and billions of dollars of transactions. Great benefits of the ecosystem as part of the go-to-market. Databricks, as they start to rise up and as AI hits mainstream, the role of data now we've been predicting is going to be front and center as the AI infrastructure gets faster, more semis, better chips, bigger systems, more tokens, a lot more use of the data. So people are resetting and rethinking about it. So talk about why you joined Databricks and your new role here.
Yeah, happy to do it, and I agree with you, John. We're just at the beginning, and there's so much more we can do with great partners like Fivetran as we grow the ecosystem here at Databricks. When I really kind of distill down, there's many reasons I wanted to join here. The company's growing very quickly and lots of great opportunity, but there's really kind of three things I would really narrow in on. One, the pace of innovation is pretty astounding. You saw a bunch of innovations and announcements from Ali this morning that we've been working on for a long time around having our own database, powered by Neon, agent bricks, and a bunch of other announcements we'll see tomorrow that are these what I would call big rocks, these big innovations that we're doing to really drive transformational change for customers. But even since I've been here for my first 30 days or so, on like the email activity inside the company, there's been dozens of launches almost on a daily basis that really just help round out rough edges and really help customers use the platform in a much more streamlined way. And I think sometimes those innovations are just as impactful. And then the second reason is, really partners and customers really seem to like what we're up to and what we're doing. I talked to one of the world's largest banks for breakfast yesterday morning, and they were telling us how they're consolidating on all of their data ingestion and third-party data consolidation so they can do all their analytics and AI in one place. They happen to use Fivetran to get a lot of that data into the Databricks platform, but they're also helping us work with all the data provider community to get all those third-party data sets natively into Databricks, so that's super exciting. And then third, like the people here are both super smart, but also really ambitious. And my conversations with Ali, one of the founders and our CEO, and Adam, my boss who hired me, we don't want to just build another ecosystem, we want to build the world's best data and AI ecosystem. And that's just something that's really appealing, and I'm just frankly grateful to have a ticket on the rocket ship.
And the ecosystem's kind of in place, but it's getting bigger. The rising tide is floating a lot of boats. George, last year we were on theCUBE, we were talking about the connectors, and one of the themes this year is really clear, is making the resilience for developer workflows better, connecting different data sources, a big part of the opportunity. You guys have been updating your SDK on your end. What's the update on your end? You guys are a big part of the ecosystem. It's a hard problem to solve. This has been a key area of getting these pipelines connected without a lot of work, but also developer productivity as well. What's the update on your end?
Yeah, before you can do anything with data, whether that is dashboards or agents, you've got to get all your data in one place, and if that place is Databricks, Fivetran can help you do it. So we do data replication from the systems of record of our customers. And as you intimated, it can be an ugly business behind the scenes. Connectors are kind of famous. Getting the data together is often the hardest part of the problem. We try to really internalize that and protect our customers from that. So our connectors are offered at with a very high degree of automation. And the response from the market for many years now has been great, and we're doing more and more business together with Databricks as people want to get their data, their company data, into that platform.
A lot of the conversation around the data layer has been kind of wait for the infrastructure to get better, but the readiness factor has been a key. Can you guys share your thoughts? I know you guys do a lot of work in this area, getting people ready to make it better, faster and easier, less painful. Is there readiness right now? How would you scope the progress of data infrastructure readiness when it comes to you don't have to be a rocket science to figure out agents are going to be here, and what form we'll see. You've already started to see them happen, but being ready for them is a huge deal.
Well, you don't have to revolutionize all your IT infrastructure in order to be ready for this. The way Fivetran works is we replicate all the data from where it lives into the data platform. And the systems of record, they come as they are. They may not be perfectly configured, they may be a little complicated, but we deal with it. I think a lot of the reason that people think of this as such a gnarly hard problem is because they try to do it themselves. And if I can convince anyone listening of one thing, it's that you don't have to do that. If you use Fivetran, it's still difficult, but it's our problem rather than your problem.
I think that's like the key part of readiness, really, as George was saying. Like, Ali painted a picture this morning of all of these disparate systems, and if you go into a big enterprise, he said customers will have at least one of them. Most big enterprises are going to potentially have dozens of each of them, particularly their systems of record. And it's just so much easier for a customer to click a couple of buttons with Fivetran and have all of that data start to appear in Databricks, not just the first time they do it, but on an ongoing basis, so that they are then much more ready to take advantage of all the analytical and AI capabilities we make available.
I mean, I looked at, before coming on, I looked and saw what are the biggest connectors that Databricks is replicating into Databricks with Fivetran, and you're replicating Salesforce, you're replicating Workday, you're replicating your engineering systems, Jira and Confluence, some of your finance systems. So that's right there. Many systems of record. Each of them has a use, obviously, in the Databricks platform, and you're doing those with Fivetran. So guys, we try to make it easy.
We always talk about the IT market. You know the history. You guys are in the middle of it. A lot of the stuff's brittle, okay? And there've been a lot of legacy. Some systems don't even have APIs. That's a whole different problem statement that came up clearly in our earlier interviews with some of the engineers on Databricks, but the tooling is getting better now with AI. You start to see some better tools, but people are going to need custom work. And you're starting to see these areas of improvement of, okay, I got to connect to this data. I need to get this into this data, out or into a database or format that's going to be aligned with the pipelines that I've identified. So yeah, I see my pipelines and workflows, great. Now where's the data for that? If you don't get the data into the workflows,
well,
probably.
Though historically Fivetran has been known for our 700 standardized connectors that we maintain and that you just set up, and the details of how they work, you don't have to worry about it. We have seen an explosion of use in our connector SDK, which has become very popular in the last year. It's only about a year old since we released it, and a lot of that is being enabled by AI. So we have found that for long tail data sources, niche data sources, maybe data sources that only you have, for which there will never be a standardized connector, we have had great success in using the Fivetran connector SDK to allow customers to write their own connectors, and specifically using AI to actually write the code.
So how many connectors are standardized? What was
700.
the number? 700, okay. Yeah. Now what's the use case for the custom SDK? Can you give an example?
So an example is we have a customer using it to connect to an Oracle transportation manager system that we don't have a standardized connector for. They could ask us to build one, and we might well do it. We do need more than one request in order to build a standardized connector, but they can have it right now by using the connector SDK.
Awesome, and that's available?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Stephen, your vision, okay? This is the innovation that you're looking at in the ecosystem. Okay, this is how we do business, variety of connectors in his example, other partners. They have things out there, but now new things are coming.
Yeah.
What's your vision on how you see this ecosystem, and how is it different than, say, the classic cloud play?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be different than the cloud play. So I'll caveat everything I'm about to say with, I've been at Databricks about 5 weeks. I met 40 partners or so in my opening 30 days. And really what I'm trying to do is to collect a lot of feedback. And my initial aim, as I put on LinkedIn, was to meet 90 partners in 90 days and get to hear all of the things that they wanted us to do. But so far, I think that the two things that we're pattern matching against, and I'm hearing most often, is one, most of our partners, almost all of them, want, in some way, shape, or form, much better go-to-market support from us. Whether that's deeper connections with our sales teams, better propensity mapping, making sure that we have high-scale marketing programs to increase the top of funnel, or better and tighter integrations into our core product offering. So Fivetran is a long-time partner. We couldn't be where we are without some of the things that they've delivered for us, and they're already very tightly integrated, but a lot of other partners want to make, maybe not the same, because they're people in different spaces, but similar sort of integrations. And the second thing I'm hearing a big pattern on is continuing to up-level our marketplace capabilities. We do have a marketplace. We've got thousands of solutions on it, from data providers to ISVs to startups. Models are available on our marketplace now as well. And some of our partners want to see more transaction capabilities, so we're sort of starting to think about that. But I also think there's an opportunity for us to differentiate, not build just yet another marketplace, and what are the ways that we can take the contextually relevant things in our marketplace and surface them in our product experience in a way where the customer is finding it when they actually need it, instead of having a marketplace that's kind of off to the side, the customers have to go browse separately. So I don't know, it's an early idea, and there's not a ton of meat on that bone just yet, but those seem to be the themes that we're hearing from partners as I talk to them.
We're going to continue the conversation and watch the evolution. I think there's a huge go-to-market opportunity. We had Andrew on from the Databricks Ventures, Steve from the startup program. You're starting to see kind of new levels of startups coming in, single founders, multiple founders. It's kind of a new wave of AI native startups. The entrepreneurship formation is a little bit changed thanks to AI, so I'm sure there's going to be some good dividends there.
Yeah, and if anybody is watching this, is partners with us, you want to see something else that I haven't covered, let me know. Stephen Orban at Databricks, we're listening.
All right, that's the plug right there. George, your growth strategy, let's talk about your business. So you guys joined forces with, or Census joined Fivetran last month.
Yeah.
Big acquisition.
Yeah,
talk about that, what that means and what it means.
It's really a long time in the works. So what Census does is actually the inverse of what Fivetran does. You get all your data in one place. You learn great things from it. You calculate great information, like which accounts should I really be following up on? And sometimes you want to then put a slice of that data back into the system of record. For example, you want to go populate a column of Salesforce with that information that I just described. And that's what Census does. Customers have been asking us to do this for a long time. It's pretty funny. I ran into a customer earlier today who reminded me that he had specifically asked me last year to acquire Census, and so he said thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I made a mental note of that.
The customers have felt very strongly that this should be one product for a long time, and so they're getting their wish.
And it's not, you guys aren't strangers either. You guys know each other. You've worked together. A backstory, there's a backstory there.
We were in the same batch of Y Combinator a lot of years ago.
Is that right?
W13, yeah. They were doing a different company called Meldium back then. And they sold Meldium, then they started Census, and here we are working together.
One of the things I liked about your business is that you guys drive a lot of consumption for the operational side of the database. How do you guys see that coming in as you look at your relationship with Databricks and the ecosystem partners and customers? How are you thinking about that relationship? Obviously, the consumption of data is a critical part of it. Again, you're doing all the work. What's that future look like for you?
Well, Census is often referred to as data activation, and it really is a superpower for systems like Databricks, when you not only can learn these great things from your data and present them in reports and build agents on top of them and whatever else, but you can actually take that data and put it back into the system of record so that your employees can encounter it in context. Very much like you were saying, you want to try and have the marketplace if you're in context in the UI. This is about using the data that's in Databricks, not just to look at, but to actually go and do things.
On the ecosystem, what is the big characteristics? One of the Databricks' philosophy, Steve, and I'd love to get your thoughts, George, too, is that making things simpler. One of the first principles of Databricks is like, abstract away the complexity. I love the operating system conversation because when you talk to the Databricks nerds, the engineers, they kind of think like operating, they're from Berkeley, right? They think open, they think radical, and being radical, you got to be prepared to what's the unknown.
Yeah,
this is the future we're looking at right now.
Yeah, open is clearly core to Databricks' strategy, and if you listen to the way Ali sort of outlined the vision for the company 10 years ago and how it evolved with open data formats and now ways to do sort of open governance. We've opened the Unity catalog, for instance, for integration with governance partners to continue to add governance layers on top of the core governance capabilities we provide within Unity catalog. So I think as we continue to grow the ecosystem and bring on more partners, we're going to have to continue to up our game for how sophisticated the capabilities we give to them, for them to integrate with us, so that interface that the customer sees ends up continuing to be seamless.
George, what's your reaction to the ecosystem and opportunity Steven's building over there?
I mean, I think one of the topics you touched on, which is open data formats, is absolutely a revolution that's happening right now. People are really waking up to open data formats, especially at the largest companies.
Yeah.
They want to have a data lake that's in their own control, that's in an open format. Yeah. And Fivetran actually, our two fastest growing destinations are Databricks, but also data lakes. So we can write the data directly to the data lake, and Databricks then reads it from there. It's a slightly different relationship of the two companies, but it allows us to unlock certain efficiencies, and it allows customers to go all in on open data formats.
In operating system theory, they teach you, we learned in school, connectors are very lifeblood of the subsystems. Whether it's different storage platforms, and customers I talk to that are Databricks customers, what they love about it is they love Iceberg, they love open table formats because they can manage their metadata and then connect to wherever the data is stored. Huge advantage. Unity Catalog allows them to do that, and that's simply I don't want to move stuff around, right? What's your guys' reaction to that? Because again, this seems like a tipping point, for growth. Thoughts on this open table format around that? Because now storage always drove the agenda, but now it's flipped, it seems. Or am I getting that right? What do you guys what's your reaction to that?
Well, I think the innovation is moving up the stack, and you're seeing the table formats is a solved problem today, and people are looking to take advantage of that. So I think...
What are they doing with the tables now? Metadata management?
I mean, now, just as an example, we're doubling down on it with the launch of our lake-based database, which is also built on open table formats. So now there's a Postgres interface that customers can actually have a transactional database, and then when they don't need the transaction capability, they're simply able to use the rest of the Databricks capabilities to do their analytics.
And you can plug into Agent Brick as well?
And same, yeah.
I got a customer to give me a good explanation of how they intend to use that this morning, and I feel I understand it a lot better. It's very funny because it's very much the inverse of the classic hybrid transaction analytical paradigm, where usually people talk about the reverse. You have sort of an operational database and you create an analytical view of it. Well, this is kind of the opposite. I have an analytical database, but sometimes I want to make an operational view of it.
That's right.
I love how the script gets flipped. I love this era we're in right now. Guys, thanks so much. We appreciate you taking the time. Final question. George, you got the head of ecosystems here and marketplace for Databricks. Any requests for Steven while we put him on the hot seat here?
No, keep doing good stuff. It's working.
It's an open question, by the way, and it'll stay open as long as I'm here. Keep giving us the feedback. We love to hear it, and all I can say is if I do my job right, the best is yet to come for our ecosystem, and I'm super excited to be here.
Okay, now that you're on the job, final question to you is, what's your plan? What are you looking to do? What's the first 90 days look like? For second half of the year, what are your goals?
Yeah, 90 days, 90 partners in 90 days, which I'm well on my way to hit. I'll probably do 90 partners in my first 60 days, frankly. Just happened to be our summit 5 weeks in, so I got like 30
Hit your quota right there.
30 meetings this week alone. So right now I'm listening. I obviously come with some of my own biases and preconceived notions about the outside looking in on Databricks, but I really want to make sure that I'm not just blindly going with the things that I think. I want to make sure we get lots of good feedback from the partners, both that we work with now and the ones that we want to be working with in the future that we don't. If you think about our, the new lake-based service that we just launched, there's going to be a whole different kind of ecosystem we need on top of a database, especially when you have things like Replit and Lovable are the key partners, where it's agents who are actually using the service as opposed to humans and data engineers. So really I'm just listening for the first 90 days, but I hope to exit that 90 days with a really concrete next generation vision for our ecosystem and a strategy on the things that we need to do to achieve that vision, probably over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. And then the conversation we'll have as a leadership team is, how do we actually want to prioritize and cadence and order those things to continue to deliver the best data and AI platform with the best ecosystem. And I think just early on, my sense is it's going to be something along the lines of, we want to make sure our customers have every tool, application, software, data set, model, agent that they could possibly want as they transform with Databricks.
All right, well, thanks so much for coming on. Good to see you in the new role. George, always great, and congratulations on wiring up the data, and congratulations on your growth and your acquisition. Thanks for coming on, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, I'm John Furrier here at theCUBE. More live coverage coming after this short break.